Hello. I know normally I've been doing Let's Plays lately. However, there is an event or a series of events that have come about that I do believe requires my attention, that I do believe I need to say something about. Um, Pretty much everybody at this stage know what happened in Orlando. They know that there was a shooting and that over 90 people were shot. Many of them were injured and many of them were killed. Almost 50 of them were killed. That is a very tragic event, and it is a unique event in a couple of different ways. Um, One is the amount of individuals that were injured and killed. It is fairly high for some of the other shootings that have been out there. Um, the other thing about it is that it has been claimed by ISIS to be something that they had done. Now that puts it into the terrorist bracket as well as being a gun regulation issue. Now we add on top of that the fact that it was a gay club, which puts it into the LGBT rights that we're going over right now. So you have freedom of religion in there because these people are claiming to be Muslim, and the Muslim hierarchy, so to speak, here are denying that they have anything to do with with the Muslim community. Um, you have the terrorist acts that are being carried out. You have gun regulations. You have the homosexuality and um, all of the LGBT issues that we're dealing with right now. All of these things are wrapped up in this one particular event, which makes this event unique in that aspect. One of the other things, one of the things that happened because of this particular event is that a government has been some members in the government have been working more diligently trying to get the gun regulations passed, trying to get more stringent gun regulations out there, making it more difficult for individuals to own firearms. Um, Personally, I agree with that. Um, like I've said in the past to other people, I do not. I believe people should have the right to own a firearm. I'm a hunter myself. I've been out hunting. Um, I know how to firearm. I know how to fire a firearm. I know how to care for it. I owned one a number of times. On top of all that, I also like to go out to the shooting range every once in a while and just go out and practice, go out and shoot. It's exhilarating. It's fun, but there also are certain rules and regulations that need to be followed when you're sitting there dealing with a firearm. And that is something that I believe more people need to be working with, more people need to be working on. Uh, As such, there are certain things that we need to do as a people together to work on this. One of the things that we need to work on is the fact that we need to look out for our families. We need to look out for our next generations, not just today. Now, the whole regulations thing that's up in front of the government right now is very highly controversial on a lot of respects because a lot of people think this means that we're going to be trying to take their firearms away. And that's not the case. We're not looking at taking the firearms away. Um, I don't honestly believe that. I do believe they're trying to put more stringent regulations on there. They're trying to make it more difficult for a person to own a firearm, and that should be the case. It is hard to understand why people are fighting so hard against it. Are they really that concerned? I mean, I, I do understand. I do know because truth of the matter is, if they honestly do believe that even though these particular instances might not be trying to take the firearms away, that is the overall goal in their mind. And they are trying to fight it every step of the way to make sure that we don't lose our firearms. And I applaud them for that because we shouldn't lose our rights to own firearms. Our society is becoming more dangerous today. We have a lot more gun violence out there than we've had in the past. And what we've been doing is not working, obviously, because there's people getting hurt, there's people dying. We need to do something else. We need to do something more. And that's what these regulations are trying to do. Now, I have my own ideas on those, but we'll leave those for now. One of the other things that I see is that even though getting these bills passed is proving to be extremely difficult because of the opposition, one of the things that have been happening, however, is that these recently there's been a case with domestic violence where SCOTUS has said that they believe that an individual who is convicted of a crime, of a domestic violence crime, does not have the right to own a firearm. And I have to agree with them on that. A person who has been convicted of owning a firearm, they do not have the right to own a firearm. Um, there's a number of individuals that I believe should not have the right to own a firearm. One is, for me, it's not a right, it's a privilege, and it's one that we should be stringently guarding. Individuals who are emotionally or psychologically, who have emotional or psychological issues, those individuals, I believe, should not own firearms. They have become, they can and will be, in many cases, will become issues for themselves and for their family, for anybody around them, for that matter. This is something that needs to be taken care of, something that needs to be watched. When dealing with somebody from a domestic violence situation, that person has already proven that they cannot manage their own behavior. The fact that they are able to take it as far as they are when they're angry at their significant other, the person that they supposedly love, they take it out on them and they beat them, many cases to death. I've had family members who were in domestic violence situations who's had guns pulled on them. It's only by the grace of God that they've actually survived. Those individuals, I do not believe, should have the right to own a firearm because they're already proving that they cannot do so. They cannot manage themselves, let alone be able to handle something that can and will kill. Should they have the right taken away from them forever? Probably not. If they go through anger management and if they're able to go through for a number of years, 5 to 7 years, to prove that they have not backslid into that behavior pattern, then maybe they should get their right to bear arms back. But until then, I don't think they should have it because they're dangerous people. You have individuals who have psychological disorders, emotional disorders, those who are clinically depressed, those who are right on the verge of taking their own lives. We don't want to make it easier for them by providing them a firearm to do it with. That's just goofy. Individuals who are who have psychological disabilities, there are some that can be so severe that they're hearing voices, that they're seeing things that aren't really there. Or they black out and they don't know what they've done during that time period. Those individuals are dangerous. And we don't know what's going to happen. We provide a firearm to those individuals and we're putting the world at risk. We're putting our neighbors at risk. We're putting our kids at risk. I don't want to do that. I can't see anybody else want to do that. I mean, would you really want your neighbor who is seeing demons in their basement having a firearm? What happens when one of your kids come walking by their house and they're having one of their episodes? I don't want that. I wouldn't be able, I can't do that. I can't put my children at risk from that individual just because I want to protect the right to bear arms. I'm sorry, no. There are ways around that. Um, my personal opinion, one of the things we should do is we should require anybody who is purchasing a firearm, whether it's privately or professionally, require a background check on them. Require a background check that deals with criminal activity. We want to see if they have a domestic violence charge against them. We want to see if they have a felony charge against them. We want to see if they have a violent crime charge against them, conviction against them. I want to see these things. I want, those individuals I don't think should own a firearm. They're already proving they can't handle themselves. I think they should have a psychological background check. I want to know if these people have severe depression, because I don't want to hand somebody who is severely depressed away to kill themselves. Really? No. I don't want to hand somebody who is having those issues like I described a gun so that they can kill my family because they're having an episode. No. I don't think you do either. There are, right now, in order for somebody to drive in the United States legally, we need to have a driver's license, which means we need to go through and learn various different rules to make sure that we know how to drive safely. And we're tested on that. We take a written test first, and then we take a practical driving test to make sure, to prove that we can do this and that we are able to handle it safely. In that regard, I think somebody going to purchase a firearm should do the same thing. I think we need to have a firearm licensing where they need to go through a written test to prove that they understand the regulations on safe firearm handling, and then go through a practical test to make sure that they're able to do so. Make sure that they're able to clean their gun safely. Make sure that they know how to handle it. Make sure they know how to fire it. Make sure they know how to keep everything safe. Put them in various different shooting range situations, making sure that they know how to handle the situation safely. I think that is one of the best ways to handle it. We require it for driving. We should require it for owning firearms as well. And like driving, it's updated every 4 years. Our firearm safety should be the same thing. The difference is it should be having to take the test every 4 years and get the background check done with the testing every 4 years. That way we can make sure that the individuals are still remaining psychologically, emotionally healthy, and that they are able to continue to manage and maintain a firearm safely. If for any reason they are unable to do so, pass either the background test or the written test or the practical test, then they should lose their license. Now, that does not mean somebody has to come into their home and take the firearm away. But if something happens with that firearm that they own, I think that should become a bigger issue. That should become a bigger issue for them. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody who owns a firearm should have to be registered. Well, that should be common sense. But I honestly think this is one of the best ways to handle this whole situation. I wholly back up the LGBT communities. I don't believe there's anything wrong with what they're doing or who they are. That's who they are. They're people. They're living, breathing human beings. That event in Orlando was terrible. Hopefully something good can come out of it, and we can get some of these laws passed, and we can get some of these regulations put in place, and we can make the world a little safer for my family, for your family, for all the families out there. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you want to see more by me and see some of my gameplays, some of my rants, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.